Good day, YouTubers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all around the world. I think I'm down to the last two if I haven't missed some. But this morning I'm figuring out how I'm going to get that backing on there that's over here. I just ran the edge of it over the top of the Tight Bond wood glue bottle and got the edge of it soaked, stuck them together, and then put it here on the parchment paper and let it dry for a little while. Then put a couple coats of blue paint on them. So all these have had one coat. Some of them have got a little bit more, but I got to go back through them all and make sure that we got the joint covered where the glue is squeezed out a little bit. You can see when the glue goes on there, it paint doesn't like to adhere to it because the glue isn't dry all the way. So go back and give it a little more paint. Once we get all this to dry, then I don't know how I'm gonna attack the attaching of the bigger piece to the back of this piece here. It's got to overhang. And I may have an issue. I don't know yet until I start trying it. Let me just pick one of these. So right now, the two glued together isn't wider than this base piece. And I want it to be wider, which means I'll have to sand down the base piece. Oh boy. Lengthwise I can make it wider by cutting it, but this way it's not, it isn't smaller, but it isn't wide enough. I need at least a millimeter hanging over on all four sides. So don't know how I'm going to deal with that yet. But can't worry about it until this dries, and then we attack it at the time. I've got some thinner, yeah, this might be enough. Got some thinner pieces of this skinny plank board that I could add to one side of that. That would make it wide enough, I'm sure. Why didn't I think about that when I was gluing these up the first time? But that's an option there for a fix to my width problem. I wonder what this is here. Yeah, that's exactly 2 millimeters, 1.9. So that'll give me a millimeter on each side. That'll work. Yeah, I might have to let them dry though. Because the glue ain't going to stick to this wet paint. That'll be a fix for the problem. I'm surprised the instructions. Well, the instructions are telling us to sand each one of these down to fit a 10 millimeter. Let me make this a full screen here. Yeah, there's at least a millimeter hanging over the edge there. So if this is 10 and they're painting it, and we're using, oh, I see 14. Yeah, but that's lengthwise, not. See, the problem is this stock comes in 5 millimeter widths. So how are they getting that 5 millimeters to overhang? When you put two of them together, it's 10 millimeters, and these are 10 millimeters when they're done. It's not going to overhang if it's 5 millimeters wide in the boards. WV5. I'm pretty sure WB5 is. I haven't opened up the parts list yet this morning. Yeah, the parts list and the instructions and some pictures and videos and a bunch of other stuff comes on this CD when you buy the kit. So there's the parts list. Here's the boards. WV5. These are WS. RD. Here we go. Yeah. 0.5 millimeter thick by 6 millimeters by 300. You dirty rat. I picked the wrong boards. I don't remember seeing those in the stock anywhere. That would have been the right board to use, and I used the wrong board. So that means in our stock here, there's going to be some boards that are 6 millimeters instead of 5. Very interesting. always make sure it's 0 before you check it. Yep, 5.89, so that is close enough to 6, yes. It is a 6mm board. So there are 6mm boards in there, and I didn't know it because I didn't do my homework. Well, I guess it'd be easier just to make more of these instead of, it wasn't that hard to glue these together ahead of time and then cut them to fit lengthwise. That's what I'm going to do, because trying to glue that 2mm board on there is not going to be fun. There's 5 of them in there. I'm going to have to look for more, because those look like 4, 2. Oh, 5 of them will be enough. These are most of the stock that's in here is 5mm. So I don't see any more 6s. I'm gonna have to dig through this pile. But at least we got the base all glued up. Go back through these and make sure the coverage on there is good enough. And they want the edges painted too, so we got to check those. Okay, to solve the 2mm issue, we did find 5 boards in there that were 6mm wide. This is a cut piece I found in the cut pile, which tells me I used some of these boards when I was doing the outer layer of planking and didn't know that there was a difference. So there are some 6mm boards in there. You want to make sure you don't use them for planking, because you need them for this. So I did a little calculation on an average of 13mm wide, as these are like 12 and a half or so, and the calculation came out I needed 3 lengths of 300mm in order to do all 62 gunport doors. So when you see that laying on there, there is a good overhang on all 4 sides, and because I only had 5 of these 6mm boards, and that's the 5th one right there, and a piece of scrap, I didn't have enough length to do all 62 in 300mm sections. So I went ahead and did one of the glue ups like I was talking about earlier, which is add a 2mm board on the 2 5mm boards and glue them together. So we got the 12 plus. So it's about 12 and a half, because these boards are not perfectly dimensioned, but they're close. So we're averaging about 12.5 millimeters wide for all 3 of them in there, even though these are the 2 6mm and this is the 3 boards together, and they're the same, so it'll work out fine. So I just finished gluing them up, We'll let them dry a little bit before we paint. I'm making sure that the ends and all are good, and then before I let it set too much, making sure they stay together, I'll take them loose from the wax paper and let them continue to cure. So that will work. That is going to save the day. Even though I've used some of them boards on the planking, I've got enough to make it work. These are not going to work, so we'll use them for something else or throw them away. Maybe we can use them on the base, the banding or something on the base. See that base I made for that one? Yeah, that didn't come in the kit. Alright, so next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get these little decorations out and get them all painted up gold. And find these hinges. See if I need to work on those or not before I paint these other pieces blue. So let's find them decorations and the hinges. Yeah, these decorations that go on the inside of the cannon doors are really dinky. I mean, they are small. So we're going to paint these up with some gold. It's like a gold leaf paint. I think I got this at Walmart or Michael's or something like that. It's definitely an oil base. And then over here, I got the camera zoomed in all the way, and it's only the distance of my paintbrush away from the work here. So these are the hinges that we got to put on those doors. And those ones are upside down, so there's a little imprint on the front of them that's got some little indents like bolts were in there. And as you can see, I've got a connection on both sides of all of them. We need 2 for each door. We got 62 doors, and just getting these connections cut off is going to be a tedious job. I've already done a few, and it's not going to be easy. So I'm going to have to fight that, get these things cleaned up and ready to use. And also got to bend the end of it here 90 degrees or 45 or whatever the angle is. The door is open, I think. And then the butt part of that hinge will glue on. I think it'll glue on to the side of the ship or whatever in that frame board. So we got to paint up the decorations, and then we got to get all these cut out of the. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a die cut punch, not a laser. Normally when they do stuff like this, it's a die set, and they actually punch it out. Oh no, there's more hinges over here I didn't see. I got to get those out of there too, because we're going to need 124 of them. Yep, got to get them out of there. But being die cut, we got all these connections that we got to take off. There's no easy way around that. These KitchenAid cut it real easy. A regular pair of nippers, because it's easier to get in to the, the edge of it where you want to cut at, but the nippers aren't performing. I've got 3 or 4 other pairs. I'm going to try them just because they're easier to get in close to that edge to do the cut. And I try to get that as close as possible to the edge and get that tail off of there. So we're going to have to fight that. Leave this up here so I don't forget. Cut it out. Get these decorations painted up first. And then I'll work away on the hinges. Alright, so we got the first coat of the blue on the back of the cannon doors. And then we got the gold coat on the decorations over here. And now I'm literally struggling with not shaking too much, being able to see. And I come in from the top here where that small round part is. I can cut that one. And then get up to the base of the hinge and cut this second one. And then pick that piece up and orient it. I was wearing gloves so I don't get my finger oils on here, but it doesn't really work too good with this little stuff. Holding that in the same position, I can get in there and cut that second side off. So you can see that each one of these is very tedious to get out of this die punch set. And if you shake it all, you're in trouble. I got to grab this where those pieces are sticking out on my right. Then I can come in there with these KitchenAid shears, cut them off. And that one got bent up a little bit. So in the meantime, after 16 hours of cutting these out, because we got 62 gun ports and 124 hinges, is that right? So we got to cut out all 124 of these one at a time and try to make them look decent enough that we can use some E8000 and glue them on there. And even after you try to get that cut off good, you can still see a little bit of the cutoff part overhanging there, so it's not going to be perfect, but we'll do our best to make them look good. And after we get that on there. We'll glue this on here. Where that orientation needs to be, right side up. And I was able to use the KitchenAid shears just to cut this off after I made a mark on the back. So hopefully we'll have enough of those. I'm going to do a second coat on them like we did the base pieces. So that'll be the end product minus the eyelet, which I don't know if I'm going to go through all that trouble. Let's look at the plans over here. Get you guys where you can see good. Get that glare off of the screen there. Of course, they're hand making an eyelet, twisting some wire to make a loop, sticking that through a hole in there, which is going to be tough because the twisted part is not going to want to go through that hole easy. And I guess they're bending it over in the back or just gluing it in there. And then another piece of wire hanging out of the side of the ship to go into that eyelet. And drilling holes in the side of the ship. Oh my gosh. So we will install one and put a little bend in the base of that hinge and install one without the wires to see. I can see that that would get knocked off easy too, though, if you don't have a wire there to really give it some stability. Grabbed onto that eyelet. I probably won't pre-make the wire eyelet. I'll just use ones that I've got left over from other kits. So I'll need 62 of them. I got some right there. I got more bigger ones over here. Being that this is going to be behind the door, you won't be able to see it. And there's some there, but not enough small ones. I may not want to use all of them up because I might need them for something else later on. So that's going to be another tough issue, the eyelet. That's why they're making them. Why wouldn't we just have a bunch of these in the kit? Oh no, you got to make them the hard way. Yeah, it's the hard way, all right. So we're going to make them the hard way, I guess, if we can't figure out something else. Because I hate to just depend on the hinge only for, you know, holding it up. When we did this San Juan, the doors came as little pewter pieces. And there was a door and then a frame. And the pewter piece had little arms sticking out the base of it that went into the frame and sort of grabbed it like a hinge, so it wasn't too hard to install. And I should have painted them black, I guess, but there's nothing but glue holding them up. But because it's a hinged assembly that's, you know, connected from the door to the frame, it had good stability. So I wasn't worried about one of them getting knocked off or falling off or whatever. But this ship Same manufacturer, the kit, Artesia Latina, but this ship is going to be a little more cumbersome, eh? A little tougher. We're up for good challenges. Yeah, this is a challenge, all right. So before we end the video of this tedious, it's going to take me, what did I say, 16 hours to cut all them out. Let's go look at our tile in the front, where we're down to the nitty gritty and the grout. Yesterday I cut the last 12 pieces that cover these ends. So those two there will fit here. We just got to put the thin set on using that trowel. See, that's how deep the thin set goes on. So it's got a nice thick mud bed. And then I actually do a skim coat on the back of the tile too. Yeah, you can see how thick the mud bed is. But I'd cover the entire back of the tile with a thin layer on the flat part of the trowel to give a good bond between the back of the tile and the thin set on the concrete board. So there's two here. I just got them sitting up there and propped up so they can't fall off. There's two here. These are just sitting here too, which probably isn't a good idea to leave them sitting there because the wind might blow them off and then break. And then we got two here that got to go glued on, and two there at the very end to finish it out. So we'll mix up some mud, get them installed, and then we, after that sets, a day or two, we'll grout. So this is a seam between the tiles that we fill in with the grout, and the grout color is going to match the other seams that are part of the face of the tile. So we're getting close to done. We still have to do a capstone across here, paint, but I don't know. I'm thinking of using this stuff here as PVC profile shape board, but I might change my mind and do something a little bigger. I don't know. We'll have to see how it looks after we get the last tiles done and set some of those pieces up there and see what they look like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Morning, girls. We've got one egg so far this morning. Oh my gosh, they're on strike. Either that or one of them, sometimes they kick them out of the nest, throw them on the ground. No, I don't see none down there. Sometimes they'll lay one over in the corner over here too. So we'll check them later on today. It's just a little afternoon right now, so. We'll let you guys lay some more eggs before I give you a treat. Okay? We want a treat right now. Yeah, I bet they do. We're spoiled, rotten chickens. So, Thanks for watching.
Come here, Cookie. Cookie. Don't you break that.
It's off.
Oh.
It's off again.
Okay, let's try this another way. Oh, there we go. Oh, you're so cute. You're such a handsome little doggy. You're such a handsome little doggy. You're such a handsome little doggy. Look over here. Oh, we gotta get your hat on straight. Give me that hat. This is just for you. See, I thought of you when I was out buying stuff.